Multiple investigations underway into the disappearance of a Washington Post contributor. And new information concerning the search for a missing Wisconsin teen believed to be in danger.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Friday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit. But first, let's head over to the Weather Center where meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. A wet start to the day, but things are improving the way it looks.
They should be improving, but it's been one of those mornings that really kind of makes you want to crawl up in bed.
Yeah, it's tough to get going today.
Exactly. It is still very gray out there. We see a lot of those gray skies out there still right now. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Sky Cam, and there are a few raindrops beginning to show up on the camera, really just some wet spots. It's 50 degrees right now. Winds coming out of the southwest at 13 miles per hour. That is a warming wind, which is going to keep things warmer going throughout the day. For the most part, we are seeing temperatures still, though, in the 40s and 50s for a lot of us here in southern Wisconsin. But as you look towards the west, temperatures are in the upper 50s and even some low 60s, especially across Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, along with Fairmont. So that warmer air will gradually be working its way in here as we go through the day. We're a little bit cooler right now, though, with all the cloud cover that we do have in play. We're still looking at a few showers, but most of that shower activity is working its way on out of here. So as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening and into the early nighttime hours, we'll see the clouds begin to diminish with temperatures holding steady into the mid-50s, but then we will shake things up for your Saturday. We're talking rain and even the possibility of another flake or two going into the weekend.
So nice weather for the parade this evening, for the homecoming parade.
Absolutely. It should be a good day.
All right, we'll check back. Chris, thank you. Madison Mayor Paul Soglin says he plans to run for re-election in the spring. Back in July, when he dropped out of the governor's race, he said he wouldn't pursue politics any further. Well, in a letter released this morning, Soglin says he changed his mind for several reasons, including President Trump's policies and some new initiatives in the city's budget. But the mayor says the most important thing is he just feels up for another year in office. The candidates for governor will debate later today in the first debate for incumbent Scott Walker and Democratic challenger Tony Evers. The debate airs right here on Channel 3 at 8 o'clock. Our political reporter Jessica Arp will be part of the panel in the debate sponsored by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. Washington Post contributor and U.S. resident Jamal Khashoggi entered the Saudi consulate in Turkey on October 2nd and hasn't been seen since. Investigations are now underway in both Turkey and Saudi Arabia to find out what happened and who is responsible. Nicole Killian has an update.
Investigations into the disappearance of Washington Post contributor Jamal Khashoggi are expected to wrap up soon.
We do believe that between these two efforts, a complete picture will emerge for what actually transpired here.
CBS News has confirmed reports the Saudis are preparing to blame Khashoggi's death on Major General Ahmad al-Asiri, a top Saudi intelligence official who is close to the Crown Prince. And a pro-government Turkish newspaper published surveillance photos of one of the Crown Prince's high-ranking aides, Maher Abdulaziz Mutreb, entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd. Khashoggi entered the building about 3 hours later, and he hasn't been seen since. Photographs then show Mutreb outside the Saudi consul's residence and at Istanbul's airport when he left Turkey later that day.
It's very sad.
President Trump says he believes it's likely Khashoggi is dead and said there will be consequences for those responsible.
Well, it'll have to be very severe. I mean, it's bad stuff. But we'll see what happens.
On Thursday, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin announced we wouldn't go to a financial summit in Riyadh, and he's not alone.
The story of the conference isn't going to be incredible growth in Saudi Arabia. The story of the conference will be who came and who didn't come.
Last year's summit attracted more than 180 leaders from government, business, and media to Saudi Arabia. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
And Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has used the summit to invest more than $400 billion of Saudi money in companies around the world. The kingdom has extensive investments in the U.S., from purchases of American weapons to investments in Uber, Twitter, and Tesla. A man says he was shot at while driving along Madison's east side. He called police around 7 o'clock this morning. The man says he was driving down Packers Avenue when a Chevrolet Impala began driving next to him. When someone holding a gun rolled the window down, the man says he sped up, but he heard 3 pops and had his window shatter. The search continues for a missing Wisconsin teen, Jamie Kloss. Investigators are going through hundreds of tips. The FBI says it has expanded its search nationwide for Kloss. Officers received a 911 call from her family's home in Barron early Monday morning, where they found her parents, James and Denise, shot to death. According to a 911 dispatch log, the call was made from a cell phone listed as belonging to Denise. Jamie was not at the home at the time, she was not at home at the time and is believed to be in danger. She was last seen Sunday at a family party. Police do not believe that she's a suspect in the death of her parents. The sequel to the popular Making a Murderer documentary series is set to premiere tonight on Netflix. The first series recounted the story of Stephen Avery and his nephew Brandon Dassey, who were convicted in the 2005 slaying of Wisconsin photographer Teresa Halbach. The two are serving life sentences. Avery insists police framed him, and Dassey has argued detectives coerced him into confessing. Making a Murderer 2 follows their appeal. The Brewers will play Game 6 of the NCLS against the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight. The series back in Milwaukee, which will also be busy for the Bucks game. Tonight is the first ever regular season home game at the new Pfizer Forum. The Bucks host the Indiana Pacers. They won their first game of the season Wednesday night, 113 to 112 over the Charlotte Hornets. Tip-off is set for 7:30 tonight at the new arena. Busy night in Milwaukee. And it's Badger homecoming weekend. Along with the parade, plastic flamingos will fill the hill today. This tradition goes back to a prank pulled by a student group back in 1979. The Alumni Association now plants a flamingo for every donation made to the university. Wisconsin plays Illinois at 11 o'clock tomorrow at Camp Randall. Busy in Madison as well. And there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
All of us in the test kitchen had a meeting, and we have something to share with you. We'll tell you about it in a bit. All of us in the test kitchen got together this past week to go over some recipes that we thought would be great to share in the weeks to come. So we came up with a brisket that is dressed to impress. And what makes it so weekday simple is that we make it in a slow cooker. We begin by putting some cut up onions, potatoes, and carrots into a slow cooker. Now, on top of that, we put a 2 to 3 pound brisket that we season with a bit of salt and pepper. Now for the sauce that'll give it all its flavor, we mix together some tomato sauce, Worcestershire, brown sugar, and some brewed black coffee. And we pour that on top. I know what you're thinking. Coffee? Really? Yeah, it's a natural meat tenderizer, and it adds a richness to the sauce. Now, we cover it, and we set the slow cooker to low and head off to do whatever we need to do. By the time dinner rolls around, all the work is done. Just slice it and drizzle it with the sauce. That, paired with the veggies that cooked with it, makes it a perfect anytime meal without all the traditional holiday prep. You gotta go online and get the recipe for slow cooker brisket so you can make this hearty one pot whenever you want. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for more convenient ways for you to say, "Oh, it's so good."
Thank you, Howard. Coming up, a chilly and rainy fall day for us in southern Wisconsin. Chris Reese shares how tonight and the rest of the weekend is looking. That's coming up next at noon. Well, Apple has a secret, and your Halloween could run on Dunkin'. Here's Diane King Hall at the New York Stock Exchange with today's Money Watch report.
The beauty business boosts sales at Procter & Gamble. The consumer products giant behind brands ranging from Tide to Oil of Olay says it earned $3.2 billion in its latest quarter on sales of nearly $16.7 billion. That was better than expected. Tesla is ready with a new lower-cost Model 3 sedan, but its $45,000 price tag is higher than expected. Tesla founder Elon Musk tweeted the mid-range Model 3s are ready for order. The electric car maker previously said the lowest cost model would start at $35,000. The invitations are out and rumors are flying about what Apple will be unveiling. The company announced a new product launch for October 30th in New York City. Some industry watchers believe Apple will release a new larger screen iPad Pro or a redesigned MacBook laptop. Apple has a history of announcing new products ahead of the holiday shopping season. For people looking for costume inspiration, it might pay to dress up with coffee and donuts in mind. Dunkin' has launched a Halloween contest through the month of October. The grand prize is $1,000 and a year's worth of coffee. To participate, people can dress up in a Dunkin'-themed costume and share a photo on Instagram with the hashtag Dunkin' Dress Up Contest. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. The Dow Industrials up 36 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ, however, down 34. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yaki out of the radio barn today. So here are your farm numbers. Chris Reese is here now with the weekend forecast. Kind of a mixed bag.
It is a little bit of a mixed bag. Now, it won't be anything substantial, but a little bit of everything is on the table as we go through the weekend. Let's go ahead and peek out the window to show you what's outside right now. We do still have a lot of cloud cover out there. It's starting to thin out just a little bit, and we will see more of that headed into the afternoon. And here's how the overall satellite picture does look. You see the main bulk of the cloud cover really kind of centered over the eastern half of the state. But as we turn our attention back towards the west, we still have a little bit of upper level cloud cover over the north woods, but sunshine does come into play behind that. Now, we did see some shower activity earlier this morning. A lot of that has since fizzled out as well, so that's now moving east of the state of Wisconsin, mainly over Lake Michigan. And we'll watch for any lingering kind of shower activity just kind of hanging out. Some of that low moisture gets trapped beneath the cloud cover and isn't always picked up on radar. So we're going to be watching that over our area going through the next couple of hours, but then we really should begin to dry out headed into the afternoon and evening. Temperature-wise, we're still in the upper 40s and low 50s for a lot of folks. So through Juneau, Fond du Lac, Watertown, and Waukesha, you see the upper 40s is still the theme there. That's where some of the rain is still actually falling, but where we've begun to dry out, that's where we do find temperatures more so into the low 50s, 50 in Madison, 52 for our friends over in Lone Rock. We also do have a strong southwesterly wind right now coming in at 13 miles per hour, but let's watch how that changes going through tomorrow. We'll watch these winds eventually change direction overnight. So here we are at 10 o'clock. Winds are coming out of the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. That's when an initial cold front sweeps through here, but another one will come in. That's when winds are really going to pick up tomorrow. These are sustained wind speeds upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour, if not greater. In fact, they could be gusting beyond that, upwards of 30 to 40. So a lot of those leaves that are still on the trees, yeah, those are going to be coming down in due time. time. But here's what we do have going on. Several cold fronts coming through. By the end of that, though, high pressure is going to be taking over as we go through next week, and that's what we want to see. So let's take you hour by hour through the rest of today. Here we are at 12:30. Notice temperatures are at 48. That's 12:30 tonight, by the way, not 12:30 coming up in a couple minutes. By tomorrow morning, notice the rain showers coming through just to the north that could mix with a flake of snow or two, with some lingering snow showers on the backside of that. It won't be a big deal at all. Not everyone is going to see it. Some of us will stay dry. We'll clear out into the afternoon, and then temperatures will drop into the 20s by the time we head into Sunday night. So when it comes to actually raking, maybe not the best couple of days until we get you towards next week. That is when conditions will improve, but we're still going to be seeing temperatures really kind of staying ultimately on the cooler side. That cooler air still on the move, but we'll begin to mild things up a little bit, especially as we get you towards the end of next week. But pay attention to what happens as we get you towards the end of the month. The next shot of cooler air will be coming into town, and we're going to be cooler through the end of the month with the region of low pressure likely going up the eastern coast. And so that's why we could see temperatures or precipitation chances above normal for the eastern half of the country, but ultimately staying cooler than normal as we go through the next 8 to 14 days. But still, sunshine for us after we get through Saturday morning's flight rain chance. We're going to enjoy a midweek full of sunshine before more rain is possible with the cold fronts coming in by next Sunday. Notice AM mix is on there again.
All right, not bad for October.
It is not bad for October. It's a mix of everything, but we'll take it.
All right, we'll be right back. Well, time is running out to buy a Mega Millions ticket before tonight's historic drawing. The pot is now $1 billion, and it could rise even more. It's the largest Mega Millions jackpot ever and the second largest lottery in history. There's also a $430 million Powerball drawing on Saturday. CBS This Morning's Saturday co-host Dana Jacobson has more from New York.
There's always that excitement when you go to look at the numbers and your heart is pitter-pattering.
Millions are lining up like this across the country for their chance to strike it rich in tonight's historic Mega Millions jackpot.
Oh, this is a big one right here.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Our obsession with lotteries, with gambling, is that unicorn feeling of like, maybe it'll be me.
Last year, Mega Millions bumped its minimum jackpot up to $40 million and increased the number of balls from 15 to 25. The result? Larger prizes and increased odds. The chance of winning jumped from 1 in roughly 258 million to 1 in 302 million this drawing. For perspective, you're more than 25,000 times more likely to shoot a hole-in-one on the golf course.
He's going to get struck by lightning, somebody's going to win the lottery.
Schlesinger points out some people don't necessarily play to win.
They just want to take a moment out of their day to consider how to dream big.
And Americans love doing just that. About 2/3 of us gamble. Last year, we spent nearly $73 billion on traditional lottery tickets. On average, that's more than $200 per person.
Instead of spending $200 a year on lottery tickets, maybe we could encourage people to say, okay, why not spend 10 or 20 bucks a year? Take the rest of the money and maybe pay down some outstanding credit card bills. I don't want to take away your dream. I just want to limit it.
Dana Jacobson, CBS News, New York.
And in many states, including New York, funding raised from the lottery is used to help education programs. The New York Gaming Commission says it provided $3.37 billion to New York schools last year. You can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
That's right. We're going to be winning with some of the sunshine coming early next week, but we have a cool down to go through the weekend first, along with the possibility of some light showers and or flurries going through early on Saturday.
All right. Well, have yourselves a great afternoon. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. See you then.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.